1990. Now, my next guest is annoyed, and not for the first time. In fact, he thinks we should all be annoyed. He believes we, as a nation, are being ripped off. Please welcome Eddie Hobbs. Okay, so what are you annoyed about?
Well, I'm with a bunch of other people. I'm setting up a national organisation called ownouroil.
Okay.
Now, this is a citizen-led, politician-free advocacy group, and we're very concerned about what's happening with our offshore territory, which is about 650,000 square kilometres of our territory. Now, if you went out tomorrow morning and you started to dig for potatoes in your back garden and you hit gold nuggets, who would own the gold, the bank or you? Yeah, you'd expect to own it yourself, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you'd expect the same thing with our oil and gas, and that's not the case. There was a huge pivot moment in 1987 when it all changed. Now, quite recently, just before Christmas, for the first time, an oil baron was taken on really publicly on a radio debate. I was up against John Teeling. And the first words out of his mouth, I thought, really summed it up. He said, after listening to what was going on worldwide and why we should change, he was listening to me. He said it was like listening to a voice from Pixieland.
Okay.
So I said, well, look, us pixies need to get together, as Barry Murphy would say when he's doing Merkel, and deal with this.
Okay,
so
what's the situation as it stands?
The pivot. Watch the pivot now, right?
Okay.
Up to 1987, if an exploration company struck oil or gas off Irish shores, now remember, technology's caught up enormously with where we are.
As in that we have oil and gas that might have been difficult or not cost effective to extract before.
That's all changed.
It's
fundamentally changed.
We could have a brighter future.
Which is why America is going to be oil and gas independent in a matter of a few years. It's all changed.
Okay, so anyway.
Up to 1987, now remember, it's our oil and gas. We would have owned 50% of what came out in the production agreement. We would have had royalties, in other words, off the top from revenues of between about 8 and 16%. And we had 50% corporation tax. Now, you might think, God, that's huge. But worldwide, regimes throughout the world are typically getting between 60% and 85% of everything extracted for the people. And oil companies are still making returns of between 20% per annum and 50% per annum.
No.
What happened in 1987?
The argument would be, though, just I think in fairness, we need to put the other side of it as well. The argument would be from Pat Rabbit and people like that is that these are countries like the Norwegian example. Norway has a record of there being a lot of oil there.
Yeah.
You drill, you have a much better chance of finding oil. In Ireland, it's there's about 3 active fields they've found in 50 years. So.
But it's now kicking off, Brendan. I mean, there's going to be an oil rig off Dalkey fairly shortly. It's kicking off now in Ireland, and now is the time to strike because we made a complete hames of it when it came to the bank deal. And yet the amount of oil and gas we're talking about is 750 billion. Now, what happened
in euros or barrels?
Euro in the value of gas and oil. That's 100 years of energy for Ireland. That's what we're talking about.
So this could solve all our problems.
Absolutely. No. In 1987, after meetings with the Minister for Energy in the oil and gas industry, when those meetings were finished, some of them unaccompanied by civil servants, we owned nothing. Our share went from 50% to nothing. The royalties were gone, and it was just pure tax, right?
Okay.
And that Minister for Energy was Ray Burke, right?
Okay.
So we're in a now. Last year there was a joint Oireachtas committee review, and they decided to do nothing because we don't want to upset the big boys. But we actually have a senior figure.
The big boys being?
The big boys being the oil exploration companies, the big boys that will come in and develop. And the thing is that if you look at all international regimes, and there's about 140 of them throughout the world, Ireland is the second most generous outside of Cameroon, right, which is 137th on the World Corruption League.
Okay.
So what we're doing is I'm saying to people who come and join our advocacy group, ownouroil.ie, you can just email it. We're looking for energy economists, accountants, planners, environmentalists, the whole gambit of talent we can get together. We want to create a convention, put our own proposal as the citizens to the Dáil and say, implement that. Along the lines of the land.
One question,
land,
Eddie, in fairness again, to just put the other side of the argument. If we're sitting there giving away our oil and we're the second most attractive, the second cheapest in the world, and we're not charging them anything. Why are none of them here? Because they're not. In the last licensing round, you're talking about we didn't want to upset the oil multinationals. None of them wanted a license here anyway, did they? So
hold on
we're obviously not that easy a
No,
market,
that has been the case up until now, Brendan, but it's changed.
Okay.
Because the technology has changed everything. We're now at the frontier of oil and gas exploration. Yes, it has to happen, but now is the time to do it. Because otherwise we're giving away licenses for the crumbs from the table. We'll get some corporation tax, but they're entitled to write off their exploration costs for decades against that. So we'll get nothing. But the public are being spun propaganda by the oil and gas industry. Now, we want to engage them in a debate.
Okay.
But we have like last year, we had a senior figure, right, one of the O'Reillys, you know them, at an international oil convention telling the people to come and invest in Irish waters because even with oil at $40 a barrel, you can make a stack load of money. Oil is at between $80 and $100 a barrel.
Has he made any money out of oil in this
Not
country?
yet, no.
How much has he spent, would you think? I'm not defending the O'Reillys.
I would say tens of millions, if not more. But that's the game.
Yeah,
but remember, they're doing that in all regimes throughout the world. So why do we have to be the most generous? Why is it that we're giving away or the endowment of our children and our grandchildren to the oil companies because we don't want to upset them? I'll say shag them. Let's upset them. Let's set up a regime that makes sense, that we, the people, put together. And you can do that. And our start-off slogan is, if not me, who? If not me, who?
Okay, so you want people to get out and get involved.
Join the organisation. We want to advocate in schools, universities, media organisations, social media, and so on, so that people understand what's going on.
Can we talk about broader issues? Because these are confusing times and people, they've kind of muzzled George Lee. You're the other person people look to say, what's going on here?